Are you eligible for $15,600 as an undocumented worker from the Excluded Workers Fund? I'm going to explain what it is, who can apply, how to apply, and when. Do you have an immigration issue? Call us. If you get value from this video, please share it with your friends and be sure to like our page and subscribe to be notified when we release others. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Mejer. I'm an immigration attorney and an immigrant. My office works with people trying to get legal status throughout the US and in the world. Our office is based in New Jersey, but we can help you anywhere in the world with your US immigration issues. If you get value from this video, please subscribe to this channel and hit the bell for notifications. If you haven't heard my story, I came to the US from Chile as a child. I didn't speak English, and for a long time, I didn't have a legal status. I know what it's like to live in fear of being deported, and even after I got my green card, because I didn't understand the immigration system, I almost lost it. That's part of the reasons that I do these videos. I want you to understand the immigration system, and I want you to get the legal status you want as soon as you can, nor do I want you to lose it once you have it. If you know of other immigrants who would benefit from the knowledge I share, please share this video and/or channel with them. As I mentioned, we have lots to talk about today. Drop a comment below to let me know what is most important to you so that I can know what to focus on in upcoming videos. First up, the Excluded Workers Fund. The Excluded Workers Fund says that you, as an undocumented immigrant, can get a one-time $15,600 payment or a one-time $3,200 payment only if you meet certain requirements. If you'd like to know if you qualify, keep listening. This bill is for anyone who lives in New York who lost income due to COVID but didn't qualify for stimulus payments and/or unemployment. The program is being administered by the New York Department of Labor, and you must submit all the documents to the agency, and I'll review with you what those documents are. So that's the biggest requirement for anyone who hopes this applies to them. You must be a resident of New York because this is a New York law. Frankly, even if you aren't in New York, I'd keep listening because other states may pass something similar, and it would be good to know this information, and you can share it with those you know in New York. Since our main office is in New Jersey, and I'm licensed to practice law in New York as well as New Jersey, many of our clients and viewers come from New York. To be eligible for this, you must be a current New York resident and to have lived in New York before March 27, 2020. So that's last year. You had to have lost all or part of your income due to COVID-19, and you earned less than $26,208 total in the past 12 months. Let's talk about each of these separately. How do you prove residency? Remember, I said you must be a current resident and must have been a resident since March 27, 2020. Your name and address that proves your residency must be on the required documents. The acceptable documents include an unexpired New York driver's license or a New York State issued ID. If you don't have either of these, you need to submit a utility bill with your name, a bank or credit card statement, a lease, mortgage, or property tax statement, or a letter from New York City Housing Authority. If you don't have the ID and you use one of the bills I mentioned, you must have two of them. If you're homeless, you need a letter from a homeless shelter or from a nonprofit that helps homeless individuals. The bills or letters used as proof have to be dated before March 27, 2020, since you had to have lived in New York before that date. And the other must be no earlier than the date the law goes into effect. Now we'll talk about the second criteria. What is considered lost income? You could have been laid off due to COVID, or your hours were reduced. You might have gotten COVID and couldn't work. Or for some families, they may have had the person who was a sole wage earner die from COVID. Or anyone who became disabled because of COVID. I read a very sad statistic the other day. Besides the fact that over 500,000 people have died from COVID in the US alone, there have been 3.1 million cases, and half of those have permanent damage to their heart or brain due to COVID. Sadly, we're going to be seeing the effects from COVID for generations to come. What about if you don't file taxes during those years? You still must prove that you lost income from COVID. If you didn't file taxes and can't prove you lost money due to COVID, you can still apply to get the lower amount of $3,200. What should you do if you didn't file taxes? Well, you could submit a letter from your employer or pay stubs or wage statements or a W-2 or 1099. The third criteria is you must have earned less than $26,208 in the last 12 months. Now let's chat about how much money you will get. There is a two-tier system for this. The more documentation you have to prove you're eligible, the more money you can get. You need to show you filed taxes in 2018, 2019, or 2020. And you need to prove that you're a New York resident during the time period required. The determination of how much money you get is based on a point system. That's why I said earlier, the more documents you have, the more money you can get. The point system works this way. Each document I'm going to share first is worth 4 points. You must prove your identity with a New York State driver's license. Undocumented immigrants are eligible for driver's license in New York. A state ID card or a US passport. They all must be valid, meaning not expired. If you have each of those to submit with your application, they are worth 4 points each. You can also provide a foreign passport worth 3 points or a photo ID issued by the New York Office of Mental Health worth 2 points. You could also provide other proof of who you are, but they are only worth 1 point apiece, like a marriage certificate, birth certificate, a birth certificate from a foreign country, a New York City Parks and Recreation card, yeah, really, a diploma or transcript from high school or college. You may be wondering why I say this is for undocumented immigrants. If you are undocumented, you might also be worried this is a way for ICE or DHS to find you and use this information against you. The bill says specifically that the application will not ask about your legal status. The budget bill says that the applications you submit cannot be used by ICE to prove your identity. It should not ask your citizenship or immigration status, or that you aren't eligible for Social Security number. Remember, if you don't have a Social Security number, you can get an ITIN number and file taxes with that. You do not have to prove you are legally present in the US to get this money. If you are eligible, when do I think you get this money? Sadly, it could be months. Like I said, you need to apply through the Department of Labor. The state is still developing rules about it, and as far as I know, hasn't even written the application. It was just passed by the legislature and signed by the governor a short time ago, so things are still being put in place to make this a reality. Keep in mind, both of these payments have an automatic deduction or tax that is taken out before you get the money. The larger payment has $780 taken out of it, and the smaller has $160 deducted. So keep that in mind if you are eligible. Thank you to everyone who watched and commented on our videos. That's all for tonight. I hope this was helpful because one of the reasons I became an attorney was to help people. If you need help with your immigration case, call us. We can't work with everyone who contacts us, but if we can help you, we won't take your money. Thanks for watching. Stay healthy and be well.